All right, we're back again with Lone Star Grillz, and today we're going to do a smoked mac and cheese on the Lone Star Grillz pellet smoker. Super simple recipe, anybody can follow it, and the really cool thing is you can change this up. You can change the types of cheese, you can do the different spices. We've got garlic here, you may not like that, so those are the different things that you can add, subtract. You can also throw in some leftover brisket, pulled pork. You can do all kinds of really cool things. So what we've got for this today is I've got some al dente elbow noodles here that have already been cooked. I've put a half a stick of butter in there and let that melt. And then we're gonna add all of our ingredients into the bowl. We're gonna mix in here. I've got a extra sharp white cheddar. I've got sharp yellow cheddar. A small block chopped up of Velveeta, and Velveeta is going to help give us that creaminess, balance out those other sharp cheeses. 1 pint of heavy whipping cream. This is an adobo seasoning. It's got a little bit of a Southwest flair to it, some cumin, some white pepper, some black pepper, and then some smoked paprika. I love using smoked paprika on meals like this. It just gives it that extra little bit of smoky flavor to it. Coarse ground pepper. And then roughly 3 cloves of minced garlic. So we're gonna get all these in here. We're gonna mix, we're gonna attempt to mix in this bowl here. So a little tip here. The reason I'm mixing it in here first, as opposed to mixing it in the pan, if you've ever done it the opposite way, you know that I can always subtract ingredients out of the full pan, but I can't add extra if I'm already full. In other words, if I put in all my noodles, started mixing everything in here, and I just didn't have the room, then I can't add the balance of ingredients that I want. Whereas here, I can add everything into the bowl, I can mix it like I want, and then if it doesn't all fit in the full pan, fine, no problem. We can take some of it out and save it for later, put it in a different pan. But this way we mix everything up, get it into the pan, and then if we have extra, so be it. So we're gonna go ahead and just like that, there's a little bit left over that's not gonna quite fit. Now we're not gonna be too fussy about this right here. This is gonna be cooking for about 45 minutes to an hour like this. This cheese is all gonna incorporate. These seasonings will all incorporate in here. We're gonna add a little bit more dairy. We do want this to be extra creamy. Nothing worse than a dried out mac and cheese. So I want to add enough just to get to where I can see it. Just kind of down in there. Not quite all the way to the top, not even close to the top. About 3/4 of the way up or so, we want that to be in there. So now we're gonna get aluminum foil. I'm gonna wrap this up tight. This has got to continue to cook to mix all these ingredients, melt them all down. And that is gonna go for about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour at 275 on the pellet smoker. And then at that point, we're gonna take the foil off and we're gonna let that smoke penetrate the top and kind of give us a nice layer. We'll define those layers so the top will have that nice crispy, crusty little bit on it, and then inside will be nice, creamy, and smoky. So we'll be back in just a minute and we'll show you when we're probably not gonna show you putting it on, that's sort of pointless. It's just a full pan. But we will show you when we come back after about an hour and we pull that foil off after everything's been mixed in. And then we'll show you as it gets going on further along. So it's been about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I haven't kept exact tabs on it. With the mac and cheese in the pan, full covered. And we're not trying to cook it. It's set at 275. We're just trying to melt that cheese. Pasta's already cooked. Obviously, cheese, all we needed to do is melt and incorporate all that dairy in there. So we're gonna go ahead now and pull the foil off. We're gonna stir it up a little bit, make sure it's all mixed in real good, pull the foil off, and then that's where we're gonna get that smoke flavor from. So you can see most of that cheese has melted. And now you can see why we added so much of that dairy. You can see how nice and creamy it is. Again, there's nothing worse than dried up mac and cheese. So just gonna give it a little stir here. And you can see it's taking on some of that color from the smoked paprika. And like I said in that first video clip, when I was mixing it all in, it wasn't perfect, and that's fine. With that foil on it, it's gonna kind of steam itself, melt all that in there. The pasta's absorbed a lot of that milk. So that looks good. We're gonna push this back in. So now we're gonna run it. We'll turn it down to about 250. Put it on 250. Just get some smoke flavor. It's gonna go for about another 45 minutes. Once that's done, we'll pull it off and we'll show you. All right, so it's been about 45 minutes. Pulled the mac and cheese off of the smoker. And I want you to kind of come in real quick and take a look at this. And this is the stratification, the layers I was talking about. You can see how the top has kind of crisped up a little bit. You've taken on that smoke color all the way across the top. But as you see here, we're fixing to take a spoonful out, and I'll show you how it's still really creamy. Now again, super simple recipe. This is so easy to follow. There's so many variations on this that you could do. I mean, just think of all the possibilities. You could put jalapenos in there. You could change the cheese, smoked Gouda, regular Gouda. I love that. Any of the sharp, super sharp cheddars, the aged cheddars, they work really well. And then adding that Velveeta in there to give it that creaminess. If you just put in the regular, the sharp cheddars that we use and didn't add that Velveeta, it wouldn't have the creaminess. Even with the whipped cream and the dairy and the milk that we added, it just doesn't give it the creaminess, but you still take on the flavors of those sharp cheddars when you add that Velveeta in there. And then again, the spices, you can season this any way you want. I mean, this is a fun recipe. It's fun to include the kids. Our kids get involved a lot of times, and we make this different ways. If it's raining out or the weather's not great, we also make it in the oven. So easy to do. And so without further ado, we'll go ahead and grab a spoonful of this and show you just how creamy that still is. And again, look, you can see on top how it's kind of, I don't want to say crisp up, but you know, it's a little bit stiffer on top, and then how creamy it is inside. So perfectly cooked, perfectly seasoned, absolutely easy to do. Anybody can do this. Again, smoked mac and cheese on the Lone Star Grillz pellet smoker. For more information, check us out at LoneStarGrills.com. Give us a call, 936-494-3477. Hit that like or subscribe button down at the bottom, and check us out for more videos in the future.